On the Eric Adams story, lots of developments today. As people who watch this platform know, I'm very concerned about what the Justice Department is doing here. There's kind of two pieces to this story. There's the Eric Adams side, and then there's the Justice Department side. On the Eric Adams side, you may or may not know, New York elects its mayor this year. Okay. The chances that a Republican or an independent elected mayor are de minimis. The only reason we've had Republican mayors, Giuliani and Bloomberg, in the case of Giuliani, he was riding a wave of anger about crime, and he was running against a weak Democratic incumbent. And he was back then, a very charismatic guy who would become America's mayor. And then Mike Bloomberg, who spent millions, tens of millions of dollars. Eric Adams is his poll standing is ridiculous. Not primarily, I think, because of the indictment by the Justice Department, because he's been a horrible mayor, worse mayor than Bill de Blasio. So people think he's saving himself and his chances for reelection by making this deal. It is going to kill him with Democratic voters, and it's like 8-1 registration for Democrat in the city. So I think, regardless of what happens now, however the Justice Department piece is solved, I just don't think that guy's got a chance to be reelected as mayor. And although the New York press corps tries to fuzz this up, far and away the most likely person to be the next mayor of New York City to win the election this year is former Governor Andrew Cuomo. We'll talk more about that, but Adams is not helping himself electorally. He might be staying out of prison this way. On the Justice Department side, the New York Times is reporting that the president's former lawyer, who's the head person in Main Justice dealing with this, brought in together all the attorneys in the public integrity section and said, career people, and said, which one of you will sign the brief to the judge asking the judge to dismiss the case, which is what the Justice Department wants to have happen under this extraordinary arrangement where they say, we want Adams to work with us politically, so we're going to drop the charges temporarily, at least. And according to the Times, he said, you got an hour for one of you to volunteer. At the end of the hour, one person volunteered in order to keep everybody from being fired. I think they'll all probably be gone, whether they're fired or quit. The lawyer who was the main prosecutor in the case uh, resigned and is another Republican, like the acting U.S. attorney. And he wrote an incredibly piquant letter, which you can read all over the internet, about how, I'm paraphrasing here, he basically said, there's no way he would sign that order because it's completely corrupt. And the president's eventually going to find some lawyer who's willing to sign it, even though he hasn't yet. Or the Justice Department, as the president today said, claimed he had nothing to do with this. He said the Justice Department will eventually find a lawyer who's willing to sign this because the fact that the original letter got written to say this is the deal with Adams, he said that proves that the fact that that thing could be written so out of line with the way the Justice Department has ever operated, or in the view of most should operate. He said that letter is so outrageous that there's clearly no one around the president who's a lawyer who will tell him no. So if there's no one around the president who's a lawyer who will tell him no, some lawyer somewhere is going to sign the thing. I continue to say, although most voters won't care about this, although Republicans on the Hill have been quiet, I continue to say that this is so rotten to the core and so antithetical to American values of how prosecutors are supposed to operate that this will continue to be a problem. This is not going to go away, I don't believe. We'll see. I might be wrong.